Well, the Swiss president reportedly leaving Washington without reaching a trade deal. That after the president imposed an extra 25% tariff on India over its purchase of Russian oil. My next guest says the president's latest moves reinforce the idea that he views tariffs as a universal problem solver. For more, let's bring in James Pethokoukis, economic policy analyst at the American Enterprise Institute and a CNBC contributor. Jimmy, it's great to have you back on. And let's start right there. This idea of tariffs as this universal problem solver, if you will. How unusual is it to be seeing tariffs implemented in this way on countries for so many different reasons? We didn't even talk about Brazil in the introduction.
Right. It's obviously it's a tremendous outlier in U.S. trade policy, for the last century. I mean, I can imagine a world where the president is upset about India importing Russian oil, and he says that's bad, and we're going to hit India with sanctions, maybe, financial sanctions, their banking system, oil companies, sort of targeted at that sector. Like, that is something which would be within sort of the tradition of American foreign policy. Hitting India with a broad 25% tariff on top of another tariff, like, that's pretty strange. And it's strange if you assume this is about oil and not about, something else. Like, the president is mad because India is not giving him credit for the India-Pakistan ceasefire, and India isn't promoting him for the Nobel Peace Prize like Pakistan is. So when you have this universal tool and a president who thinks it can solve any problem, whether personal or economic, I think that's a real uncertainty creator, as we've already seen.
Well, traditionally, from a foreign policy perspective, we've seen sanctions used. Are sanctions successful in an effective way to implement foreign policy? Is that perhaps why he's looking to tariffs now?
Yeah, well, listen, I think sanctions have a mixed record. You have to be consistent. You have to get allies. You have to get lots of allies working together. Like, is the president sort of who has this sort of go it alone attitude? Is he prepared to bring in allies for sanctions, allies who's also engaged in a trade war? So that sort of undercuts, I think, that this sort of traditional tool of American foreign policy in exchange for this sort of broad-based one, which, by the way, also hurts Americans. I mean, tariffs are self-harm. Sanctions are different. Sanctions aren't like an exercise in self-harm where American consumers and producers of foreign products who use foreign products in their own production processes get hurt. So it's a very strange, and I think, exercise in self-harm.
What's the sticking point with Switzerland? What does it take to get a trade deal there?
Is Switzerland promoting the president for the Nobel Peace Prize? They might want to do that, depending on how personal. I'm not sure. I would guess coming here and saying good things and having a very deferential press conference would be helpful. But beyond that, I'm sure that's what a lot of these leaders are wondering. It sort of doesn't matter if you have a trade surplus or a trade deficit. You can still run afoul of the president for all sorts of internal political reasons, which is that. So that's all these countries, as well as many American businesses, are really living, it seems, permanently in uncertainty city.